This video is a guide for you to follow if you wanted to audit your own website SEO. This site here is yet to be SEO'd, so we feel it's a good example to go through what we'd look for. Start off with the URL here. The first thing is you want one address that Google is to look at. We don't want to confuse Google with too many different addresses, so you want to make sure that your website has got a redirect in place. So when someone types in www, it redirects to the non-www. Same with HTTPS. So if someone types in the HTTP, they redirect to the HTTPS. So you want to make sure those redirects are in place. One of the best tools in the SEO industry is Screaming Frog, which you can download from this website. It's a free tool, and you can download it by clicking this button. Now, how this works is you open up Screaming Frog and then you type in your URL here. I'll just clear this out. And then you can crawl your own website, very similar to the way Googlebot would crawl your website. Crawl this. Okay. Which one are we on here? So if we start off here, and as you can see, I'm filtering by HTML here. So if I were to display all, we'd see a lot more stuff. But if you filter by HTML, this is focusing more on what we're interested in at this point. The first thing we want to look at here is the status codes. We want to make sure that there's no 400s, no 404s in there. That means a page not found. You don't want those in there. You don't want Googlebot to be following links that go nowhere. We don't want to waste the Googlebot's efforts. And no 500 errors either. So 500 errors are server errors. So it's going to make the Googlebot work harder, which isn't good. So we want to make sure that the right pages are being indexed. So here we have the HTTP version and the HTTPS version, and you'll notice here that the HTTP version is non-indexable because we don't want Google to crawl this page. We want Google to crawl this page. So this one is indexable. You'll notice the status code here is 301. So that's a 301 redirect. So that's good. This page is redirecting to this page, and we can see the 301 status code here, 301 redirect. We want to ensure that any low value pages are not being indexed. So there's really, you just want your most important pages to be indexed by Google. You don't want Google wasting its time indexing pages that you have no desire to rank for. We have one page here without a H1 and it's indexable, so Google's crawling this page. If I actually take a look at this page, if I just go to /articles, I don't think I'd want this page to be indexed to begin with, because there's no real sort of keyword that I could focus in on this page, because this is the blog archive page, so it's about so many different things. So I would prefer to de-index this page, because there's no way this page is going to rank. It's going to be too confusing for Google to analyze this page to work out what it's about. Because it's about so many different things. I mean, this page, for instance, now this is about streamlining WordPress maintenance. So I could potentially start ranking for this page for these keywords. So so this is something I would definitely not want to de-index. Back to, now let's check out the H2s. In the H2s, we're not doing so good. We've got some pages, posts, same thing, that don't have any H2 tags here. So we'd go through and we'd certainly put some H2 tags in there. Take a look at the page titles tab. Now what the page titles are, go back to our site here. So see how I'm hovering over the tab here and we can see the this text pop up. That's the page title. Now this also appears in the Google search results. So the idea is that this title, when your page appears in the search results, that it's appealing to the user, and the user is more likely to click on it if the page title is exactly the thing that the user is looking for. Now you'll see here that our page titles are a little bit cut off. So we see the ... here. So that means we've got too many characters. So we'd look at shortening this so it wasn't cut off. I mean, I think it's descriptive enough, but we do this on a page by page basis. So we make sure that all these pages have an accurate page title. We want to try to keep the character length, which is displayed here, at around 50 characters to ensure that it doesn't get cut off in the search results. The page title is one of the first things that Google's going to see. So go view source here. See the page title is right at the top. So that's one of the first tags that the Googlebot's going to read. So this is pretty important. As Google's going to use this to work out what the page is about, as well as display it to the user. Now the other really important thing, and one of the first things that Googlebot is going to read, is the URL. This is incredibly important. So you want this URL to be short, sharp, and accurate, and descriptive of what the page is about, and it should also contain your keywords or that you wish to rank for. Images. Click the images tag here. We get all sorts of image information, and Google likes a fast website, and having compressed images is crucial for a fast site. Now our image size isn't too bad, but I see the images that are using the wrong format. So here we're using a lot of PNG images, which is not great for file size. So these are PNG images when they should be JPEGs. Let me see here. So that's okay. That's fine to be a PNG because that's an icon. That's a flat color icon. So that's fine. That's meant to be a PNG. What's not meant to be a PNG though is stuff like this. See, this is an image. So that should definitely be a JPEG. Well, nowadays we're serving up images as a WebP format, but that's a little bit advanced and still pretty cutting edge. But this one would be way better loading, have a way better file size if it was a JPEG. So that's one thing. That's a big red flag on our site right now. Another crucial aspect of images that I see a lot of, which is really going to impact page rankings, is when an image is, say, 5,000 pixels wide and takes forever to load, and is 5 megabytes in size. That's 5 megabytes is way too big to be a website image. At the most, you probably don't want to load any image that's over a meg. I think a meg's plenty of file size for an image, even a big slideshow banner image. So you want to keep it to around maybe 1200 kilobytes is okay, 1300, as long as it's a great image and it's worth loading such a huge image, then go for it. But otherwise, you want to keep an eye on your image file size and make sure you don't have too many images that are over a meg. The meta description, also very important, and here we can see a big problem that we're missing the meta description of a lot of these pages. So that means that when people Google streamlining WordPress maintenance and our blog post comes up, Google's gonna make up the page description itself rather than using ours. So this is the page description here, and you want to make sure that that's enticing for the user, and the user feels that clicking this link will solve their problem based on what they've read here and here. Sitemaps are really important for search engine optimization. Sitemaps help the Googlebot work out what pages it should be crawling. So firstly, you want to have a sitemap that's accurate and that lists all your important pages. That should be accessible to, usually you can find your sitemap by just typing in sitemap.xml. Ours is redirected because we're using the Yoast SEO sitemap tool here, and you can see we have a post sitemap that lists all our posts, and then a page sitemap which lists all the pages that we want crawlable. Now the other part to this is the robots file. So if we go to robots file, txt. Now you should also list a link to your sitemap in the robots file as well. See, the robots file is one of the first files that the Googlebot will look at. It'll check out the robots file and it'll get the link to the sitemap from the robots file. Ours is missing the sitemap link, so we'll have to put that in there. Here's an example of a robots file that is linking to a sitemap. If you have a blog on your website, you want to make sure that the authorship is a name, the name of the actual author, rather than here it says this post was written by admin. So that's not great for us. It would be better if this post actually had the name of the author. That way Google can evaluate the name of the author. It can see what social media profiles the author has, and you can sort of start to build your own respect in the industry and with Google, with the more sort of quality content that you're producing. If Google knows who's writing the post, it can build a profile on that author, and that can be quite a good ranking factor. Another thing you'll find that SEO companies are doing is using an intro snippet just like this and adding in keyword and ensuring that the snippet is keyword rich. Also, another good thing to do is, where possible, that's not a good example, but just to interlink your pages, interlink your keywords from the snippets to other internal pages. That really helps Google identify your important pages. Here's an example of what I was talking about with the interlinking. So we've got our rich keywords here, and we are linking to the corresponding page.